David Platt, Jack P. Shepherd, has been teetering on the edge of disaster for weeks in Coronation Street, his desperation leading him down an increasingly dark path. What began as a reckless scheme to commit insurance fraud has now snowballed into something even more dangerous, as he finds himself entangled in a web of crime that threatens not only his own future but also that of his family. A few weeks ago, David was in such dire financial straits that he seriously considered setting fire to his own home. The plan was simple yet incredibly risky: cause enough damage to claim on the insurance and use the payout to settle his debt with dangerous criminal Harvey Gaskell, Will Meller. At the time, David was drowning under the pressure of owing Harvey money, and in his desperation, he believed this extreme plan was his only way out. However, fate took a cruel twist when the Platt home was actually destroyed in a fire, but David wasn't the one responsible. Initially, suspicion fell on Lean Battersby, Jane Danson, especially after Toya, Georgia Taylor, was trapped inside the burning house. But the shocking truth soon emerged. It was Max Turner, Patty Dever, who had thrown the lit rag into the house, inadvertently causing the devastating blaze. Realizing the gravity of his actions, Max turned himself in, facing the consequences head-on. However, David and Shona, Julia Golding, were quick to step in, fearing for Max's safety. With Harvey and his associates still a looming threat, the Platts decided to take drastic action. They applied to have Max move to Scotland, hoping that distance would keep him safe from the consequences of his mistake. But moving Max away doesn't solve all of David's problems. Far from it. His financial troubles remain, and Harvey's influence continues to cast a long shadow over his life. In the coming episodes, David's desperation to earn quick cash intensifies. He tells Shona that he's taking on home visit barbering jobs to bring in some extra income. While this seems like a reasonable, albeit last-ditch, effort to fix his money woes, the truth is far more sinister. When Shona isn't around, David makes a discreet phone call to an old associate, Andy. Soon after, Andy arrives and hands David cash for their latest job. Though the specifics remain murky, one thing is clear: David is getting himself involved in something illicit, something far more dangerous than he lets on. David's financial troubles have already driven him to consider arson. Now, as he grows increasingly entangled with the criminal underworld, it's only a matter of time before he crosses a line he can't come back from. Just as Andy walks away, David notices something unsettling: a young man watching him from a distance. Their eyes lock, and the stranger gives David a knowing nod, signaling an unspoken understanding. Is this yet another player in Harvey's web of criminals? Has David unknowingly caught the attention of someone who could make his situation even worse? The tension is palpable, and it's clear that David is in far deeper than he ever intended. David has always been a fighter, someone who does whatever it takes to protect his family. But as his desperation mounts, his ability to keep things together begins to wane. The pressure is relentless, and the choices he's making could have devastating consequences, not just for himself, but for those he loves. Shona remains unaware of the full extent of David's actions, but how long can he keep the truth from her? Will she stand by him when she discovers the lengths he's gone to? Or will this be the breaking point for their marriage? Max, too, is already struggling with the repercussions of his involvement in the fire. How will he react if he learns that David, the man who has always tried to guide him away from trouble, is now involved in criminal activities himself? Producer Kate Brooks has hinted that David's storyline will take him on an emotional and dramatic journey with dire consequences. In trying to protect everyone and do the right thing, he ends up losing quite a few things that he holds dear, Brooks previously revealed. So, a real journey for David. He's well-intentioned, but he fails, messes up, and makes mistakes. And there's massive consequences not only for his own family, but for the wider community as well. Her words paint a bleak picture for David's future. His attempts to shield his loved ones may ultimately push them away, leaving him more isolated than ever. And if he continues down this dangerous path, he could end up losing everything, including his freedom. As Coronation Street continues to unfold, viewers will be left wondering, just how far will David go before he hits rock bottom? Will he manage to claw his way back to safety? Or has he already sealed his fate? One thing is certain, David Platt is playing with fire, and it's only a matter of time before he gets burned.